So here I am behind the wheel of a 1964 Corvette Stingray convertible. I am also legally blind and cannot see where I'm going. This was explained in an earlier episode of So Here I Am. It should also be mentioned that I do not have a license to drive, and it is totally illegal for me to be behind the wheel of a car. Tony didn't care whether I could see or not. It was illegal for him to be behind the wheel of a car too. He had been caught speeding so many times the courts took away his driver's license. If he was caught driving one more time, he could possibly get jail time. That's why I'm behind the wheel of his Corvette and not him. I would be his driver. Tony knew I could drive just fine. I just couldn't see where I was going. That would be his job. Tony was a friend and a neighbor. He lived across the street from my family home on May Avenue. He was more than just a friend. He was my hot rod guru. Tony bought muscle cars. The first muscle car he bought was a 1967 Mustang GT Fastback. I helped him work on that car. It had a 289 V8, with a 4-barrel carburetor and a 4 on the floor. Tony put on headers, nice mag wheels and had it painted a very dark green with a gold metal flake paint. It looked hot, it sounded hot, and it was fast. It was a blast to go with Tony when he practiced his power shifting. He was learning how to get the most out of the car. His goal was to power shift through all 4 gears without using the clutch. It was hard to get it right. The RPMs had to be just perfect. When he was successful, it was awesome. Engine, transmission and driver all worked together and the Mustang performed at its utmost. In the summer of 1976, Tony drove his Mustang out west. In Manitoba he traded it for a 1957 Chevy Bel Air. He drove the 57 back home. That Chevy was mint. It was a real collector's item. He tried to drive it home in its original factory-equipped tires from 1957, but the rubber was too old, and the tires had to be replaced. Another car Tony had in his collection was a 1959 El Camino. It was a bright canary yellow and white two-tone with a 327. A really neat car. I wonder if he still has either of those two cars today. They would both be priceless collector's items. The summer of 1976 was also the summer Tony bought his Corvette. It was a 1964 light blue Corvette Stingray convertible with white interior and convertible top. It was equipped with a 250 horsepower 327 4-speed. The 1964 Corvette was a C2 body style, one of the most iconic body styles Corvette has ever produced. It was a good-looking car, and it was Corvette Stingray fast. It's too bad he couldn't drive it. He couldn't take the chance of getting caught driving without a license again. More than once I drove that car. Whenever Tony needed to go someplace, I would be his driver. He would then be my driving coach. He would tell me when to stop, when to go, when to change lanes. He told me everything I needed to know, to get us to where we had to go, safely. That is, if you think it is possible for a blind guy to ever drive safely. He was one of my driving coaches, and we never had an accident. In fact, I have never had a car accident in my entire life. This is an account of the most exciting driving experience that I have ever had. Tony wanted to go someplace. I don't remember where. It's not that important where he wanted to go. It's important that he asked me to take him. Of course, I said yes. An opportunity to drive his Corvette was always something special. It was a sunny day, when off we went down May Avenue with the top down. I didn't need his coaching until we reached Yonge Street at the end of May Avenue. We had to make a right on Yonge and go south to Observatory Lane. We always use side roads whenever possible. There was less traffic and it was safer. We had planned to take Observatory Lane from Yonge Street to Bayview Avenue. Tony told me when it was safe to turn right onto Yonge Street. Next, he told me when it was safe to get into the center lane. I was going to make a left at Observatory Lane. I stopped at Observatory Lane and waited for traffic to clear. Tony told me when it was safe to turn left. I turned left. I took Observatory Lane to Bayview Avenue and stopped at the stop sign. Tony coached me on when to make a left-hand turn and head north. I pulled out nice and easy onto Bayview Avenue. That's when Tony told me you better get moving. Go. There was traffic coming up behind us fast. I was in first gear when I put the vet to the boards. It burned rubber and took off. I slammed it into second with a little squawk. It was a perfect shift. I hit third and that was another perfect shift. And then into fourth. I had it to the boards the whole time. In seconds we were up to 85 miles per hour, and it was time to slow down for the lights at Major Mackenzie Drive and Bayview Avenue. I started downshifting and Tony coached me to a stop at the lights. That was it. The most exciting driving experience I've ever had. I took a classic 1964 Corvette Stingray from 0 to 85 miles per hour at its fastest. I put it to the boards and didn't blow a shift. I got everything out of the car. It had to give. Even Tony was impressed. Not bad for a blind guy.